This stupidity hurts our cause.
The Halo review is out for the early episodes, and as one could predict, it's not looking good so far. I thought when this show was announced, I thought it was going to be crap. I didn't think it was going to be any good because they built them. I knew it was going to be bad when they built themselves a cop-out saying, oh, don't worry, it's not canon. I was like, okay, so you're just using an IP, characters, weapons, aliens, different creatures, vehicles, the world that's already been built to tell probably your own crap Hollywood story. The early reviews are in for it, and it's not looking great. I'm just gonna jump right into it. So Rotten Tomatoes, I don't think this is a very reliable website at all, but it's kind of the hub for all things review, I guess. It's a 63% right now. It's 60 earlier when I looked at it, so it has gone up a bit, but I feel like the critics are kind of split. You go down here. The drama comes on strong with ambient techno babble and bureaucratic realism. It's as thrilling as a meeting. It's exactly what you'd expect. While Halo features a few minor pivots in these early hours, there's very little to spoil and even less to spark curiosity that's not already present. The most interesting thing about Halo, which is necessarily saying all that much. Schreiber is indeed the most necessary thing about Halo. Okay. Boasted no technological innovation to speak of, few performances to offer meaningful grounding, and only limited action thrills. Halo is aggressively forgettable and is several steps up from being bad. Okay, and you got some good reviews here. It says, what we see is intriguing and demonstrates how there's a lot of potential for this Halo adaptation to thrive where many other forgotten attempts have failed. I don't think it's going to thrive. I think the fans, the real Halo fans, aren't going to like this because it's not the story. You're doing this some different universe where you're just using the same everything, but you're telling your own story. If you didn't own the rights to it, hell, you could get sued for doing this kind of thing. And this is the one I really liked. It's the frustrating thing about Halo is that it tries to serve two masters: diehard Halo fans and newbies who are used to the normal rhythms of sci-fi streaming series. Yeah, I think this is a big money grab by Paramount. I don't think they know Halo. I don't think a lot of people in that writer's room have ever played I would consider one of the best gaming trilogies, Halo 1, 2, and 3 of all time. I love those. I grew up on them. Some of my favorite games ever. Halo 3 is probably my favorite multiplayer game ever. And that's just personal opinion. Got some more issues here, though. Creators have adapted Halo in a way that basically renders it with emphasis on basic. This is at the Hollywood Reporter. A clone of The Mandalorian, boasted no technological innovation to speak of, few performances to offer meaningful grounding, and only limited action thrills. Halo is aggressively forgettable. It's a few steps up from being bad. So that was one of the reviews we see, but this is the one I wanted to focus on right here. A clone of The Mandalorian. I personally think The Mandalorian shit. I think the Book of Boba Fett shit. I think anything Disney's kind of produced with the Star Wars brand on it has been crap. So this really worries me as a Halo fan that you're calling it a clone of The Mandalorian. And I'll make a separate video on it, but they're using a young female as the human perspective of the show. And I do believe she is going to be the key to everything. And she's going to be the main character. Another thing that scares me, which I don't believe I think the writers don't know Halo at all. I think, like I said before, I don't think there's a person in that writer's room probably who's played through the whole trilogy. I was going to say on Legendary, but hell, a lot of people haven't done that. But they haven't played through the whole trilogy, don't know the lore, haven't read the books. They're just using this as another IP to grab onto that has a popular name that they can probably make some money off of. This is freaking Polygon. Master Chief has always been a thin character.
You know me when I make a promise.
You keep it. I do know how to pick 'em.
No. He has a lot of depth as a character. You're just going off your first impression of him, where he's very cold, separated. There's a reason for that, and you actually dive into that. He's tactical and lethal, and he gets down to business. There might be a joke in there, blah blah. But mostly he's there to be our viewpoint. So he doesn't risk much by the way of personality. I would argue that. In the pilot of Halo, he does what he's never done before: defy an order. I mean, like, games he has defied orders before, but it's always been for good reason. He always tries to do what he thinks right or in service of saving someone he cares about. But without the larger Halo lore, it's hard to get a sense of who we're supposed to think he is up to this point. An obedient soldier, certainly, but everything about him and his emotional journey is told to us rather than laced through his actions. Almost as quickly as he's introduced to the audience, he's shaken by a vision of his ordinary life, and then rebelling against a system he's, maybe, been subjugated to his whole life. Nowhere in there do we get a sense of who he is enough to care. In the sci-fi story he's helming feels as generic as he does. There's little urgency or color to the world that counterbalances Master Chief's wooden mannerisms. When he takes off his helmet, he's not a mutilated child soldier. He's just a guy. Halo's Master Chief is all stiff dialogue and tortured stares, but the pain behind it gets lost in translation. And it just brought it up, taking off his helmet. Why is Master Chief taking off his helmet? In the video games, it made perfect sense. You are Master Chief. You're looking through the eyes of John 117. You're him. You don't need to see his face. You realize his character by the actions he takes, by the decisions he makes, by the conversations he has. He's not a thin character. He's never been a thin character. He has a lot of depth as a hero. But in this story, he's just going to be a dude, I think. He's just going to be a souped-up, Captain America-type guy where he takes off his helmet all the time because those actors have to show their faces. They have to. They write it in their contracts. It's what they need. And you know what? I get it from their perspective. But I wish Halo never would have been touched live action. It was better left alone. I think it's going to be crap. I think this is going to be a shit show. But hey, Rotten Tomatoes is kind of on the fence about it. So, hell, it might be good. It could be the greatest show of all time, because if popular reviewers don't like it, like Grace Randolph didn't like it, well, it could be great. But from everything I've read about it and everything I look at, I'm not going to like this at all. I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to try to watch it. But again, I think this is a big money grab by Paramount Plus, and I think it's going to leave a lot of people wanting to play the games and get this bad taste out of their mouth. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll talk to you later.